the undiscovered animal. The villains sing and prance. They tap and joke, they jab and poke, they do their deadly dance. In the world, the undiscovered animal, evil's long been in bloom. The normal life is not with strife, and now it's time for doom. La muerta viviente. La muerta viviente. In the world of the undiscovered animal, a villainess will arise. Her face is skull, her senses dull, there's murder in her eyes. La muerta viviente. Ay, oh, la fe. La muerta viviente. Ay, oh, la fe. In the eyes. Ay, oh, la fe. La muerta viviente. 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 In the eyes. Punchline and the Vaudevillains by Sikora. Now on Kickstarter. Ah, muerta viviente. Critical blast logistics, getting it done, getting it there. Critical blast logistics, getting it done, getting it there.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure, follows a retired soldier turned reporter who is given a coveted interview with a death row inmate. What he learns thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to use his military training to survive being hunted for possessing the information that could topple the city's most powerful ruling class. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
I was sitting all alone in my library chair when I found a book and it gave me a scare. The pages I kept turning, it quite took me in. What was it? Oh, where do I begin? We read the monsters. I read the monsters next door. The monsters. It had short stories galore. The monsters. It's full of horror and gore. The monsters. I read the monsters next door. Oh,
25 seconds to curtain, folks.
It's a Critical Blast podcast. With special guest Ted Sikora.
And as promised, here is, of course, in the house, Mr. Ted Sikora from Hero Tomorrow.
That tune, the Violante tune, what in the heck? That was amazing.
I'll tell you about that later. We don't
What?
give away all our trade secrets on the show.
Later.
But
Holy
I can
mackerel.
get you that. I can get you that song if you would like to have that. That's
I would
it's a
definitely
fun-
like that song. That was so cool. I was just like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, well, it's funny because when you're the host of the show, you can see all the guests in the back room on the little squares down here, and I always see when somebody figures out, wait, that was my thing.
Oh my gosh, that was badass. I was stunned.
Well, it's something fun that I'm trying out here, and I've been trying to give something special to each person as they come on.
Wow.
So it's you try to be different, you try to have something that stands out in your show so people come and see it. Like, what's he going to do tonight?
Jeez, oh man. Yeah.
Cynical Bleat is here tonight. That is, of course, our friend Woody with his new ID. Says there ought to be clowns, and he's particularly enamored of the turn of phrase vaudevillains, which
Thank you, Cynical Bleat.
I do like that. And of course, Woody, if you're out there thinking, yeah, but what about Punchline? No, first in line with the name in
by
commercial
2
use.
years.
So, and you know what? You probably made more with it than DC did, because they're just not doing anything with the character anymore.
That's a shame.
I was like, yep, nope. We tried to replace Harley Quinn. Harley's just too much of a mainstay.
Yeah.
So how have things been going with Hero Tomorrow? Like we said for the show, you kind of backed off the crowdfunder for a bit there, but
Yeah, we well, let's see. So we did things really strange. Punchline 1 came out, and then Bloom 1 was supposed to come out, but then COVID happened and they pulled our solicitation, thankfully, because it was literally the April preview guide that when everything shut down for the first time, and we wouldn't have sold anything. So, we held that back. Then we did the Bloom. And I wanted to, because it was during the shutdown, I thought, well, let me just focus on this. We'll get all 4 issues out in 1 year, which is for us brutal, just brutal. But it happened, and then went back into Punchline. And the seed for Violante here was dropped back in Tap Dance Killer #4. So there's a moment, and maybe just as a on-ramp for anybody who might not know what this stuff even is, how to start. We made a feature film called Hero Tomorrow. It was about an aspiring comic book creator, and his idea for a superhero is based on the premise that so many heroes are creature themed, but all the good creatures were taken. So he makes this thing called the Apama, and that his superhero is based on that. So we decided to make the book that would have been in our main character's head, and we made that Apama, the Undiscovered Animal. And now this is about a Hungarian ice cream truck driver on the streets of Cleveland. In Apama, we introduced in issue 5 his nemesis Regina, and she's this hippie, trippy, psychedelic cult leader. She became the star of Bloom, which goes back to the 60s to tell her origin. In issues 10 and 11 of Apama, we introduced the Tap Dance Killer from a musical I'd written back in the 90s, actually. And images of her were being liked and shared by the thousands. Critical Blast gave it a really nice 3 different awards.
we did. Yes, you swept the categories that year.
Yeah, and we've used that everywhere. So thank you a million times. And in the pages of Tap Dance Killer, we introduced a heavyweight boxer who becomes a super powered murderous clown named Punchline, which is where we are today with this new issue 3 of Punchline. So Tap Dance Killer is a 5-issue series, and then Punchline is going to be a 5-issue series that continues all the characters, Punchline and the Vaudevillains.
That's interesting that that the title is that way, because once Tap Dance Killer was so front and center, I was kind of surprised that I knew you wanted to do Punchline, and I was like, okay, they're going to do the Punchline miniseries. But as soon as it became Punchline and the Vaudevillains, it's sort of like Batman and the Justice League. I'm like, is Punchline going to be their front and center character now, as opposed to, like, Tap Dance Killer and the Vaudevillains?
It's really not that. Because the group consists of about 6 main characters, Sir Terror being the crime lord, Tap Dance Killer, of course. Fletcher's the mad scientist who enhanced Drayton Hayes' Punchline, and also Hurricane Lizzie, which is his love interest, which is also related to Violante. And then Uzi Clown, the weapons specialist. There's Gaspard, the costumer, and that kind of thing. But what I wanted to do with this series was focus. So, I mean, the title very well could have just been The Vaudevillains, but I wanted to have Punchline sort of, I wanted to focus on his psyche in this series and really kind of give him his own thing. All the other characters are still very much in this, but yeah, we're just focusing on the big dude.
Yeah. And for those who are new to the series, there's the Vaudevillains. They were created by somebody else from completely innocent people.
Yes. Yeah. They were all actors in a show. And there was a woman who came from the publishing company, allegedly, and gave them a scathing review. And she gave them this substance to drink. And she said, you've got to make it real. And they did. They were locked into the roles mentally. And then they started wiping out the Ramiro mob on the streets of Cleveland.
And not just, I mean, if it was a psychotropic drug that made them believe something, that would be one thing. But it's not only enhanced their abilities, it's given them abilities they shouldn't have had. Fletcher should not be able to, go from being an actor to a literal mad scientist who can reanimate.
Well, what happened? So he started having this affair with this woman who has palsy, Elizabeth Hale. And, this sort of drama that unfolded in Apama leaves him as sort of the only person who's not in the hospital or not in jail. And he's just obsessed with his research about animating the dead and healing. And so he finds in Mexico, he's doing a lot of research, there is this mystic healer, and her name is Violante Fabra. And he goes to Mexico to meet her and see if he can find out the way to induce the DNA of Elizabeth. So Violante is, this very spiritual healer. She puts him into this trance, her eyes go white. She's reading the flickering flames of the candle. And Fletcher starts seeing these visions of these beings that are telling him how to do exactly what he wants to do. Now, Violante has an assistant named Caesar who's taking notes, and Fletcher comes out of this trance, and he knows exactly what he needs to do and how to do it. They tell him, this is not a spoiler for Punchline, but this is getting us there. They tell him that, he needs to go back under one more time to make sure that these measurements are correct and all these formulas are correct. He thinks they're trying to steal his intel, and he shoots them dead. So he goes back. He does all these things with Hurricane Lizzie, Punchline, thinks nothing of it, but not so easy to kill a healer like Violante.
And he didn't quite have all the measurements right.
No, because like I say, Elizabeth is like the first pancake.
Oh, yeah, and she reminds me of kind of a mix of Mad Hetty and Lashina from the New Gods, the Furies.
Mad Hetty. I think I have seen Mad Hetty. Yes,
there were the four Furies that Darkseid had. And,
okay. Yeah,
Lashina was the one with the straitjacket kind of stuff that was always lashing out.
Well, oh, really? She has a straitjacket too?
Maybe not the straitjacket, but she definitely had, lashes.
Lashes, okay.
Her body was covered in the lashes that would whip out.
What was her name?
Lashina?
I have seen Lashina, yes.
Now but yeah, Lashina. And then Mad Hetty was sort of like the greenish goblin-looking thing who was just like cackling and mad and jokerish. And so, meshing those two up, you sort of get Hurricane Lizzie.
Yeah, that's fair. It's because what's interesting is I had never read the New Gods up until recently when they did the big omnibus, the absolute omnibuses. So I picked those up And yeah, I think I came across Mad Hetty, and she's only on there for like a page. I'm like, huh, that does remind me a little bit of Lizzie.
She'd been
But
used in a couple of different places, but the thing I liked about Hurricane Lizzie was like to prove that you could trust her. She tries to kill Sir Terror.
right,
You think, and she she whips the knife and we're like, no, and the knife stops right there in front of his nose, and
right,
then she pulls it back. It's like, see, you can trust me. I'm not going to kill him.
yeah, yeah. But
He'd have been dead.
his whole life flashed before his eyes, and yeah, he went into a crisis.
Yeah, and at some level, I think that the innocent people that they initially were before they were mentally locked into these roles are still influencing them at some level, because they're killers, they're planning heists, but they'll take care of a baby.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and they've still got the baby, right? I mean,
They still got the baby. Yep. Yep. There was a crack house that was about to be bombed, and they were trying to loot the place because they'd found out about this thing that was happening. And Nikki, the tap dance killer, gets up there, and the mother is strung out on the sofa, possibly dead. And there's this baby in the crib, and she's like, "You got to get out of here in 10 seconds." You know, Uzi's on the comms. "You got to get out of here in 10 seconds." So she makes the choice and grabs the baby, and then so now they got a baby.
yeah, and you know, it's not like they just dropped off at the hospital. We'll raise it as our own. That
Right.
kid's gonna need therapy.
That was the ego of Sir Terror. Like, no one can take care of this kid better than we can. You know.
Exactly. Oh, so which brings us, to Punchline. Punchline was he was the disgraced boxer.
Mhm.
We won't say why, but he was up and coming. He was expected to win, and then stuff happened.
Stuff happened. Yes.
So
Sabotage.
yeah, and he became ripe for the picking for the vaudevillains to say, hey, we need Muscle. Here's Muscle. Make him one of us. Now, did they actually put him through a process, or did they just take advantage of his anger and?
Oh no, he's enhanced. Like he is definitely that takes place in Tap Dance Killer 2. We give you that whole story of how he gets into the sort of the soup of Fletcher's sort of concoction.
It's when you say it, I can see it, but it's been a while.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah. Well, when you take a year between issues, things happen.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Walters popped in here to like and share the stream and say hi, and we appreciate that. Always share the streams out, please, so people can meet our guests if they've never met them before. And the book we're talking about, by the way, which is Punchline number 1 through 3, because you can go back and get them. The link to Kickstarter is right down there, folks. It's right below the video. Just click on it, opens in a whole new window. You won't miss a thing. Ted will still be talking to you while you're putting in your debit card digits and getting your book.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I interrupted myself, and now I lost my train of thought here.
Well, I think we were talking about the enhancement of Drayton Hayes.
Yes.
And there is this. When I originally designed Punchline, I wanted him to be a villain in our Opama series, and then because I just like the idea of a boxer named Punchline, clown themed. I just thought that was a nice, simple idea.
It's been hanging out there for 80 years of comics, I think, and nobody's bid on it.
Nobody grabbed it, and then everybody grabbed it at once.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Opama shows up in Punchline and the Vaudevillains 1 and 2. Like issue 2 is the big throwdown between Punchline and Opama. Yeah. And that was a ton of fun to do, and it's been waiting forever. One of the things that happens, though, Punchline gets hit so hard, he goes into a premonition, and he starts to see, like, he sees his friend he used to know just murdered dead on her apartment floor, and that really messes with him. And this is this whole other level that we're getting into with Punchline now. Like what this process did it kind of altered his mind too, and that's this sort of side effect that's unfolding.
Yeah, he can see what's coming. He knows the punch. He can see the punchline coming.
There you go.
So, now in the world of Apama, he's pretty much your only hero, right? I mean,
Apama?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the only one who really tries to just be a hero. Everybody else is sort of the hero of their own story, but they're very much villains by anybody looking in from the outside. I mean,
all
Nikki,
good villains are.
yeah. I mean, Nikki. I'd say Tap Dance Killer is maybe the closest the vaudevillains have to a moral compass.
Yeah, because I want to say that she recovered herself at one point in her story arc. It's like she remembered who she was.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely knows, and it's sort of this dealing with, now that I understand the other evils that are out here, like the Romero mob and all the stuff that they were doing, I have to take them out. We've got to do it, because they're just the greater evil.
Yeah. So like she remembered that she was Nikki St. Clair, and then she willingly accepted the role of the Tap Dance Killer as a permanent role.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because the others might not do that where they to get whatever knock on the head is needed to and
Right.
and I think that's actually happened to Sir Terror.
Yeah, he's going through a lot with the kid. His parents were killed, so yeah, it's been tough on him. And Fletcher, he's just wallowing in his weirdness. He doesn't have that tether yet, if he's going to get one at all.
Right. Well, the tether he brought with him. Well, because
With Lizzie, yeah.
Yeah, so they're both become villains together. So that brings us, up to issue 3, where we're going to fully get introduced to Violante as a costumed villain kind of character.
Yeah.
But is she really a villain if she's attacking villains? I mean, what
Exactly.
is Violante?
Right. I mean, I've been careful to just call her a villain, or I think to say she's the vaudevillain's new nemesis, that's definitely accurate. But a lot of people think that's just sweet retribution for her. I mean, Fletcher shot her dead, so
Yeah.
and she was a healer, like she's not. But and when we look at the campaign, we can see some of the pages. She's not completely connected to her consciousness.
Yeah, she's not quite alive. And you had a really touching scene in the pages that are printed here, and we're going to get to that, so it's not really a spoiler for the series. But where she becomes who she is. Now, of course, here, if you are still unfamiliar with the vaudevillains, you've got this really nice, not a glossary, I guess, but more of a dramatis personae, with the pictures of each of the characters. They're in their makeup most of the time. Sir Terror, is that silver makeup or is that white makeup?
Silver.
That's what I thought. So he's shiny.
Yeah, he's
There's Fletcher and Punchline. And then, like you said, now Uzi Clown, he kind of joined after the show, right? I mean, he did.
He became the weapons specialist, and we've really not gotten into his origin yet in terms of how he joined and all that. So that's coming, but all in good time.
Okay. And of course,
3 issues from now or 3 years later.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. He likes guns. You don't have to be, chemically augmented to be that kind of person.
Yeah. He's down.
And then Hurricane Lizzie, who is just she steals the show anytime she's in a scene.
Mm-hmm.
People will love her. And then Gasparo, or Gaspard.
Gaspard. Yeah, Gaspard.
He's the costumer, but it's so
Flamboyant.
yeah, he's flamboyant. But what does he do beyond they've got costumes now. They don't really need him at this point.
Well, but he's also, like he'll help Nikki with, she needed a strap for her gun, a little holster. He's always designing. He can't help but keep improving things. So he was the one who rigged up her little crutch shooter thing. Well, there's enough for he'll be
kind of like Q.
Yeah, he'll be around.
Kind of like James Bond's Q. Here is, of course, the main cover, and
that's
the
Ladrone.
vaudevillains are just celebrating crime, and Violante is looming over them, metaphorically. They have no idea she's coming.
Yeah, this is the guy who did the final Incal, Sons of El Topo, Jodorowsky. It was a huge honor for me to work with him. I mean, he's 1 degree of separation from my hero.
I'm familiar with the name, but you've always been able to attract very talented artists for all the work that you've done with Hero Tomorrow.
Appreciate that.
And let's see, we got reviews. Read the reviews later, folks. We want to get to the preview pages here. So
yeah,
so
I sort of set this up. Go ahead.
I'm asking you, is this where we started the issue out at?
No, this is not the beginning, but I figured this was a nice self-contained scene. Nikki's mother was shot by the Romeros and killed momentarily in Tap Dance Killer. Fletcher brought her back to life. Now the father was brought in. They kind of kidnapped him and brought him to the vaudevillain lair to show him that his wife is okay, even though she's doing nothing but speaking gibberish. And here he's hitting Fletcher like, we got to take her to a hospital. Nikki there is saying that, if it wasn't for Fletcher, Mom would be dead. But here Mom starts to kind of come around for the first time, and she's warning about. She keeps saying the violence is coming. She was saying that back in Tap Dance Killer. Like,
yeah,
she has foreseen. There she's trying to say in the last panel, protect us from V, and then we go to the next page, Violante, and this is where Violante has finally gotten out of her sort of death coma bed, because Caesar, her assistant, was able to keep her alive based on the stuff that he had from Fletcher's notes. But didn't quite have the whole formula. So she is not all the way back to her consciousness. And she's kind of seeing herself in the mirror. Her skin is kind of cracked. She sees this bullet hole. And then there's the remembrance there of being shot sort of on the bottom right. If you scroll a little more.
Yeah, where Fletcher takes her out. So, of course, he's working with the same incomplete formula that Fletcher worked with Lizzie on. So
yeah, pretty
get similar results.
Yes. And there's definitely a lot of room for variation in these formulas. So she's not not like exactly like Lizzie. She's sort of something else. And then if we keep going, she sees this picture on her, dresser, and then there's this sort of thing where she's just keeps looking at the picture, but her body's doing other things. Like it's almost like 2 different entities are moving her body here.
Yeah.
And she grabs excuse me.
And I can tell that she recognizes it as herself, and she's like, I don't look like myself. I need to make myself look like myself.
Yeah. But here's a little thing that's not in the narration. She's sort of colorblind, so she doesn't really get the white skull and the black nose or whatever. So it's sort of like she's got this kind of different look. And she pulls on the dress, and her, she busts out of the window and floats away.
Yes. Now that's not something she could do before, right?
No. So we'll get into all that, but not just yet.
And I think this is your first character in this universe that actually can. I guess Regina probably could if she wanted to.
Yeah, with the spirits who kind of respond to her, she could definitely levitate. But it's a little different with Violante. I had so much fun with that particular panel. I could not get the look of this panel right. We were drawing it, and the art here, by the way, is Yvel Guichet. First time I'm working with him, and I just adore his stuff. We've been we've really got a good flow. But this particular panel could not get it. And I actually went down in my basement. I cut a piece of cardboard. I cut a window out of it. I had this figure that I put in the window and I just shot it with my phone until I actually got it, saw what was in my head.
Yeah.
In fact,
Got that Dutch angle from the
let me
top.
see if I can show you. I could probably pull it up here.
Oh yeah, do that.
Back a ways. I use a lot of these sort of figures when we're doing layouts. It's
Well, you've got drawing from life and shooting from life is a thing you've done. You did the Regina covers with cosplay artists.
yeah. I don't know if we can. Let's see. Oh, get rid of the.
Oh yeah, okay. Who says action figures aren't good for nothing?
Anyway, yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, you should save that picture for
Oh, an extra, yeah.
yeah. When you do the how the making of when you do the hardcover collection.
Yeah,
Put that in the
absolutely.
back with the extra
Yeah,
material.
yeah, that one was pretty special. And I actually used Streets of Mexico. I mapped it onto the my I photoshopped it onto my cardboard, so we had an actual facade of a building. So here we go. Covers. Excuse me. This is Yvel. This is the artist on the interior of the book. That was actually the first piece he did for us. And yeah, I think it's got a beautiful, creepy vibe.
Yeah, that's and she's just floating past this window here with the kids in Mexico seeing her.
Yeah.
And they don't look happy. They look kind of terrified.
Yeah. It's a little bit unnerving, supposedly. Then we got Ladrone, of course, which we talked about him. And the detail on this cover is sick. I could make a cover out of the close-up of Nikki. I mean, or any of them. It is so freaking amazing.
Yeah. It's some very tight line work that he does. I am familiar with the name. I don't know why, but when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, he did something I've read.
This is my original concept illustration of Violante, and the dress was made to look kind of like a dried rose.
Okay, I do love the look. I mean, all of your characters. If you look back at the Vaudevillains, people, the character design on all of these are unlike anything you're finding in any other comic.
Thank you.
And Violante is she's not going. Well, this dress is not designed for physical fighting, but she's probably not going to need to do such things.
That's right.
She's probably more one of those distance fighters. This is the Giancarlo Bernal.
She will throw down. Yeah, Giancarlo Bernal. Yeah, love his work. He does this book called The Crescent City Monsters. And I've always just kind of thought, man, he'd be a great fit. And he put those Day of the Dead vaudevillains in the back. And
that's what I was just catching on to.
Yeah, even the sides got all these characters he's drawn. It's so much detail in this. It's really gorgeous. In as much as she's gorgeous.
And then what is this? You got a Mexican horror poster.
This is it's actually a variant. This is a comic book variant cover, but I took that. Let me grab a prop.
If this is a cover, this is fantastic because it's you can see the fold lines in it.
Okay, so this is what I used to design Violante, and I bought a mannequin face. I was really, I did another podcast the other day. Here we go.
Hey, that works.
Yeah. So I could not get the look of this character right on paper. So I bought this mannequin face and I painted that. And then I was just like, yeah, now I feel her. And so this is how I designed her. And then I thought, man, for a variant cover, how cool would it be to I got a wig, And if we go back to the cover, to the to that poster image, so this is actually a variant comic book cover that's made to be like a vintage Mexican horror film poster. So
Yeah, you can see where it
it's
was folded.
yeah, yeah, we
That's
got the fold lines, everything, and it's even got like con means with, so like Drayton, instead of Drayton Hayes, it's Drayton Hoyos. Nikki St. Clair is Nikki Santa Clara. So it's like these are the actors in the movie, and the clown boxer number 3 down there at the bottom. Yeah, I think it's confusing. A lot of people probably think it is just a poster, but it actually that's how the variant cover is going to look.
that's
It's
why
limited to the campaign.
Hero Mañana.
Yeah, Hero Tomorrow, right? It was just too much fun, man. Once I started this, I was going to do just a photo cover, but then I started to age it, and then this poster idea popped into my head. I don't know.
Now painting the mannequin head. When you went to get the mannequin head, did they look up and say, "Oh, it's you again"? Because this is not the first time you've done this.
No, I bought it online though, so no, there was no moment like that. When I bought the wig, maybe.
Because when you did the Regina tattoos, didn't you get a mannequin to paint?
Oh, full body mannequin. I painted her up. Yep. So yeah,
Just like just like your protagonist in the story when he had to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I had a really hard time designing her. Like it just on paper, like I said, it was just I wanted something that. And Ladrone, the reason I reached out to him too is he's from Mexico, and when he saw the character, he said the thing that just went right to my heart. He said, "This feels like Mexico, but it doesn't look like every other Mexican character that we see." And I was just like, that is so what I was aiming for. I didn't want just the white skull face, Day of the Dead. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love that look, but I just wanted a kind of a tweak on it.
Well, it's like I said, like all of your characters, it's got a unique look to it that you're not going to see anywhere else. You got a one of a kind metal tier cover. How's it now? How's it one of a kind? Because that's
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
they're going to be metal, and no two will be the same.
Right. So this is the highest tier. They are, if you look at those, every one of those is like a punch in on a moment. As I said, with the Ladrone cover, the individual images are so detailed that you would be the only person who owns this particular image as a cover for this issue. So there'll be like 20 different variations will be made. They're all one of one.
Oh, wow. So when you get that cover, you're getting that cover, and it's a metal cover.
It's a metal cover on a regular paper book. So it's an entire issue, but with a metal cover, and it'll say one of one on the cover.
And then of course you got your prints here. Again, they do fantastic prints at Hero Tomorrow, folks. The bonus features that you get with your package, you just want to frame them. Is what you want to do.
Thank you. And that's Chiara Colasante. She just finished that about 4 days ago, and she's really amazing. She gave me a bunch of thumbnails based on what she read there, and I love the idea of that hand is kind of creeping out of the frame.
I was going to point that out to people. It's like, look, she's coming out of the picture, and I love the disproportionate eyes. One iris is larger than the other, and she's coming out. That's freaky stuff. Okay, so I guess the nut of issue 3 here is Violante is going to track down the vaudevillains, specifically Fletcher, and all hell's going to break loose.
That's what's coming.
Is there, this being issue 3 of 5, is this a turning point of the overarching plot in some fashion? I mean, is there?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a lot of blocks have been laid down, and we've got it built now, and now it's time to sort of throw down. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to just get to it. Big. I mean, I don't. It's where it's going is hopefully unexpected.
Um, the cover prices here are very nice. It's notice, folks, purple box here. It says your selection. They're not talking about you. They're talking about me. I've already gotten into this one, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this one here. $11, $11 plus a little bit for shipping. It was like I think it was like $15 total.
Yep, I think it's $4 on shipping. On the tiers that get over 30, I think the shipping's included. So
Okay, well we're at 27 on this one. So folks, if you'll kick in 3 more.
No, I'm sorry, 30.
30
When we get over $30, I mean a $30 pledge.
Yeah, I was kind of playing with it there, but
Oh yeah, okay,
let's not mislead anybody.
right on.
So that you can get it in digital for $5, but I like to hold on to things with my hands. So I'm
And
always gonna
every
be-
cover is available as an add-on, or you can jump in at a different, pledge level with your favorite.
and for 14 you can get all 3 in the PDF. The concept cover, that's an 18. Again, your typical crowdfunded comic is always $20. So your special ones here that are still coming in at under 20 are a deal.
Yeah, that'll be the dealer incentive cover. Actually, the not that one, the John Carlo Bernal.
Okay. Now, how a dealer incentive cover? Explain what you mean by that.
A store will have to get like 10 copies to get a free one of those. That's
Okay.
So they'll end up selling them for who knows what, $20 or so.
In store. If you want to get all 3 copies of Punchline 1 through 3, this is the tier you need. This would be the tier I would get if I didn't have them, because for $23 for 3 comics, that's a super deal.
Yeah, and you get a cover choice for each one. And there'll be a survey at the end of the campaign.
Okay, like a backer kit or
Yeah, backer kit, exactly.
I almost wish you would just release this as a poster now.
Yeah, maybe.
fold
Right. We might. It's been mentioned a few times now, and middle of the campaign, maybe we'll sweeten the pot with some other stuff like that.
All right, the $25 for the horror film cover tribute, and then all Vaudevillains for 28. Now, this is not just the 3 issues of a Punchline here. This is
You get all
everything.
all 5 of Tap Dance Killer plus the 2 issues in a Palma. That's the digital, that's all the PDF version there.
Yeah. Now, what else can I now? This Tap Dance Killer over here, is that the collected, or is that the
physical books? So yeah, you would get the Tap Dance Killer hardcover. You get an issue 10 and 11 of a Palma plus the 3 punchlines.
Get that hardcover, folks. That's a sweet hardcover. I mean, just the cover alone, that cover should be a trading card. That cover should be a poster.
Jim Shooter. And on the back of it, it's got the Critical Blast Award, but it also has a quote from Jim Shooter, who said it was like finding water in the desert.
Yes. Yeah, and that's from somebody who knows comics, somebody who ran Marvel back.
2 people who know comics there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't sell yourself short there, buddy.
As we come up on the top of the hour here, coming up, I want to remind folks that it will be time to pop over to Mike Walters, the mic stand, for your daily dose of niche news. Everything in manga, anime, comic books, cartoons, and professional wrestling will be popping up there. And of course, go there on Saturdays. Ted, it's on the mic stand on Saturdays. It's the comic book historic retrospective. Mike is okay. You've heard the conversation before. I'd like to start reading comics. Where should I start?
Mm-hmm.
Got your, you tell them go to Hero Tomorrow and pick those up. But
Yeah.
you've got the people who say Dark Knight Returns. You go get Batman Year One, or you read Watchmen. Mike didn't ask where should I start. Mike asked when. And when he found out that comics started in 1938, that's where he went. So on Friday nights on his channel, we read out loud with voices and sound effects Golden Age comic books moving through the years. and it's just a ton of fun.
That's
It's,
cool.
it's like radio drama theater
Yeah, yeah.
with 4-color action shots right there on the screen. Uh,
Well, somewhat in that vein, I grew up on those Power Records, the Marvel, and I was like a 6-year-old kid or something reading the Man Thing or listening to it. It's called Night of the Laughing Dead. It was about a clown that commits suicide. And, it's just like, it was such a dark and weird, disturbing story. I remember the very last line is like, he's narrating to the Man Thing, like, as you hear this clown laugh, you realize never has laughter made you feel so sad. And it's like this ghost of a clown laughing, and it was so creepy. But that was in my head when I was narrating the Violante page there, because the narration is talking to her. It's asking her questions. And where I saw that, Steve Gerver's Man Thing.
Steve was a treasure.
Mm.
I remember Power Records. I had the Wonder Woman Power Record.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, I had tracing paper and ended up creating my first nude drawing ever in my life.
Oh, probably got in trouble for that one.
No, I didn't.
Oh, good.
I don't know why I didn't get in trouble, because I swear this is a true story. But I just drew the outline, and I'm like, what if I don't draw the costume? And I just put a line here and a line here and a couple of lines here. And I left it alone. And I swear to God, I left it in my bedroom. And sometime later that afternoon, I went into the living room, and it was sitting on the cushion of the rocking chair. I'm like, what the? And I grabbed it and I watered it up. I threw it away, and I never saw it again.
Oh my God.
Like my heart leapt into I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I knew that I would catch it, because I grew up in a conservative Pentecostal home. So we had our own version of what the Bible Belt was. And it hung on a nail. If you are new to the Hero Tomorrow universe, just get this complete Vaudevillains. Actually, just come down and get the entire digital universe, and hopefully there's going to be a physical one too. You still have physical of all the stuff, right?
I do. Yep. But we really don't go back to second printings. So a lot of covers are starting to get, lower stock, but right now we're still, there's the cover bouquet. That's still early bird. You get all 6 covers. There's going to be another one by Jay Gonzo.
I see there's a 6th cover over here.
Yeah, that's Gonzo's doing that one. We don't have that yet, though.
It's a very Yorick kind of cover there.
Hey, there's Manny, Mr. Heroenberg. Hello.
Hey there, Heroenberg. Glad I knew you would show up. I was like, I've got Ted. I've got to get Heroenberg in here, right? Of course. Thank you for the link there, and of course, folks, if you're watching this on a replay and you didn't pause it long enough to get it and type it in, just click below. It's still below in the description. You can save yourself some time here.
And we have also an easy forwarder to remember. This all takes place in Cleveland, so clevelandsuperhero.com. That'll punch you right to the Kickstarter page.
Let me just throw that in here as well to the chat. Yeah, it is all in Cleveland, isn't it? Your Vaudevillains, Palma.
Yep. I mean, Violante's coming from Mexico, but she's coming to Cleveland. She's got a GPS mental now.
Well, I mean, it's appropriate that your first superhero should be in Cleveland, because it's the birthplace of the Superman, right?
Hell yes.
So now, of course, that's not why you're set in Cleveland, right? Cleveland's more like the home base.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. That's what I know, and yeah.
Did you ever go by the Schuster house, or the Siegel house?
I have been by it. Yes, not in it, but I've seen it.
That was I would love to. Those are the kind of places I like to hit. I went to San Antonio for an IT conference, because that's my day job stuff. And while I'm at the hotel, one of the nearby attractions, other than the Alamo, which you see it for 5 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
The O. Henry house was down the road a little bit. I'm like, oh, I've got to go see O. Henry's house, just because I love his work, and I'm a writer and all that stuff. So I find out what street it's on, and I just start walking that direction. it's got to be within walking distance, right? So I walk and I walk and I walk, and the property values are going down and down
Okay, yeah.
and down until finally I'm like, you know what? There's a police station right there. I'm just going to go in and ask. And if it's any further down, I'm just going to walk back before it gets dark. And I go into the police station's on a corner. So there's a door on each corner you can come in. I
Mhm.
go in one of the corner doors. I go to the counter. I'm like, hey, I'm visiting town. I'm a little bit lost here. Trying to find the O. Henry House. It's a landmark kind of. They're like, the what? The O. Henry House. It's a landmark for a famous author. It's where he wrote stuff at. Like, yeah, sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it. I'm like, okay, thank you. I'll head back. And I went out the other corner door, and I swear to God, Ted, across the street was this little yellow cabin with a historical marker sign on it. I said, do not ever call 911 in San Antonio. They will not find you. It was literally across the street from the police station, and they had no idea where it was.
No idea. Wow.
So I took pictures with my little flip phone because we didn't have smartphones yet then. And I was like, okay, done. Going back home now, and trotted my way back to the hotel as the sun set.
Oh my.
But I could see myself doing the same thing with the Siegel House or any of the other similar historical places for writers.
And there's
This
also
is the thing I was asking for. The All Hero Tomorrow issues.
all 24 to date. Yeah, for 111. That's with delivery is included.
That's just still a heck of a deal. This is what you want, folks. You get Apama 1 through 12. By the way, when do we get new Apama?
Well, we did do a new Apama last year. It's been a while, but it's just with an indie company like ours, it's really hard to focus on more than one series at a time. And really, I kind of just go wherever the
You are the company.
I'm sorry, the what?
You are the company. It's not like you got a cadre of writers.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, Apama, I co-write with Milo Miller, but the other ones I'm writing on my own. And I just kind of am inspired by kind of new characters and new arcs like that, where we introduce new characters like Violante here. So I don't know. I just kind of want to right now follow this one. There's other ideas that are stacking up, and when this is done, one of those is going to be at the front. I don't know what it'll be. It could be more Apamas or the Book of Regina, which I'd really love to get into that too. But it's kind of, I do so many shows and nobody's, the vast majority still have never heard of our stuff. So it seems like, wow, you guys did a lot of stuff in a little bit of time. Like, well, it wasn't really a little bit of time, but it just keeps stacking up. And
we're a 20-year overnight success kind of thing.
Right. I mean, I have a banner that says over 30 years in the making, and it's not an exaggeration. That the musical from which Tap Dance Killer was pulled was done in early 90s.
Yeah, and I think I discovered you guys because before the comic book, I was working for a different website, and I would get all these independent film reviews and offers, and Apama was on DVD.
Hero Tomorrow, the movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. It was Hero Tomorrow. And I remember watching it.
What was the name of
the
Trades? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that was when I first met Apama, and it was a really cool movie. And then comic books came out of it. I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah. We get it ass backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Do the movie first and then do the comics.
Yeah.
The one-of-a-kind metal cover. Okay, you're out of my price bracket, but you've sold 3 of them, so you don't need me. but wow, 3 out of the 25 are there.
Yeah,
they're moving. This is something that again, you're never going to see this again. Why is it grayed out here? Are they gone?
I don't know why that would be.
Oh,
you
I know.
you manage your pledge.
Yeah, I'd have to go in and add it on.
Yeah.
And I think I'm probably going to be adding on some stuff once I get my backer kit information. Here, of course, is the team, folks. If you want to see everybody who's making stuff. and all the covers, just beautiful stuff. I remember when we started to do the Bloom interviews, and I had an animated kaleidoscope in the background. You're like, can you turn that off, please? I'm getting dizzy.
Right.
Like, yeah, I was too, actually. I technically I just did it because I found out that I could have animated backgrounds, and it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
perfect time to do it. But it was it was psychedelic.
Bit much. Yeah, yeah. No, it was all good.
So what are the add-ons that people can get here? I'm glad I kept
Oh,
scrolling.
yeah, the shirt. You could add the Apama set, the Tap Dance Killer book or set of singles, and you got the the movies there. If anybody wants to get sort of the little trailer versions of them.
I just want to tell people I've got this shirt, and I've got the Tap Dance Killer shirt, and it is exactly as described. It is the softest, most comfy fabric in the drawer, and it holds its colors. I've been
Wow.
washed several times, and it's not fading. So quality shirt, grab it up. I need to put mine back in rotation again because I get like 6 shirts put aside, and I'm like, yeah, that gets me through the week, and I just wash them and wear the same 6 next week.
Right.
It's time to change the rotation up some. Stretch goals, though. You can get
So
it.
yeah, at 100, you get the PDF of Crescent City Monsters. That's the same guy who did that cover where she's reaching forward. And yeah, we haven't announced the other ones yet, but I'll be announcing those very shortly. One of them will definitely be like a bookmark, and yeah, we'll see where we get.
Yeah, is the Tap Dance Killer shirt out of you out of it?
Oh, no, we do have those too. Yeah, I actually could. It's just there's so many. You don't want the campaign to get so long and big and bloated or something.
Yeah.
So, but when we do the backer kit survey, it will be available there.
I know what I want, and what I want is I want this dress. I want this dress in a fashion doll size.
Yeah, okay.
Just put it on a Barbie that you paint up purple because you're gonna just get your Sharpie done. But if you've seen the Barbie movie, you know the kids are going to do that anyway. That would
Right.
just look fantastic. So any of you fashion designer people out there that are crafty, take a good look at this dress, cut it out, and make something.
Hoping to see a cosplayer.
Oh, now you okay? So which came first with Tap Dance Killer? Because you have a great cosplayer who looks
Yeah,
exactly like the character.
Josie Jones, she's from the region. We had a contest. When we debuted the character, we were looking for somebody to cosplay her, and a friend of hers actually recommended Josie, and she was a dead ringer. And but we just had another cosplayer in New York for New York Comic Con. I had met her at another show. She was cosplaying Harley, and showed her Tap, and she really dug it. And so she was with us for a couple days in New York. So it's kind of like Earth. We always kind of put the area code. Cleveland's 216. So Josie's Earth 216, and Thalia is Earth 212. Tap Dance Killer, Nikki St. Clair.
And of course, I'm sure that Heroinberg probably has somebody working for him that could do a Violante and get it to work out there.
Right.
So you guys got to meet up with Don Simpson and have you had a Pama cosplay at the
We
convention?
did, yeah. There's a guy who he borrowed one of our costumes from the movie, and he'll show up as a Pama. He surprises me from time to time. And Josie was with us, and and Manny had Casey as the Divana there, and Casey's amazing. So we got a couple nice shots with her and Josie. Yeah.
Do you do any conventions outside of Ohio?
Oh yeah, I'll be going to. Like I said, I just did New York. I did C2E2, going to LA in a couple of weeks for LA Comic Con. I did San Diego this year. Yeah.
I've been to some Comic Cons here in Arkansas, where I'm at, and they're the conventions I go to very rarely have comic people at them.
Yeah, it's more like toy show kind of things.
Yeah, or even more like voice actor shows. I
Okay.
went to NWA Comic Con, and the only comic book person there, I mean, there were people selling them, back issues and stuff. Of course, we were there selling our overstock of stuff that we ship for people. But Tom DeFalco was there.
Oh yeah, I know
I
Tom.
got to sit down and have a great
He's
conversation with him.
been a nice supporter of our stuff. He always backs it, and yeah.
But I never see enough companies showing up. I mean, like I remember 1988, 89, Chicago Comic Con, big booth for DC, Marvel over here, Archie would show up.
Yeah.
They were all there. So I was gonna say, hey, come down here to Arkansas, set up booth down here. We'd love to see you guys at a convention or something.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'll have to be the one to drive up there. I'll watch. I'll watch. Is there anything that we've missed? I mean, we know Violante's coming. We can't really say what the plot's going to drive to because middle of the series still. Probably
There's
looking at
another
2026 to
character.
wrap it all up.
Yeah, there's another character, Lupe, who's coming, and this issue's a lot about her as well. No, I think you were very thorough as always, and I'm just grateful you had me on.
Well, I just dig your stuff, man, and I will always make room for your new projects to talk about them because and I will consistently back them, folks. You should too. So get in there and get in on this. Ted, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, and thank you for the song. Oh, am I gonna get to hear this song again now? We gotta.
You want to hear that song again? We can make that happen.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was kind of long. I thought, yeah, and believe it or not, I cut a verse out.
Oh, wow. So you're doing these yourself?
Yes.
What are you using? Like what?
I've got tools. I'll tell you how I do it later.
All right.
But here we go with La Muerta Viviente.
In the world, the undiscovered animal, the villains sing and prance. They tap and joke, they jab and poke, they do their deadly dance. In the world, the undiscovered animal, evil's long been in bloom. The normal life is not with strife, and now it's time for doom. La muerta viviente. La muerta viviente. In the world of the undiscovered animal, a villainess will arise. Her face a skull, her senses dull, there's murder in her eyes. La muerta viviente. Ay, hola, la muerta viviente. Ay, hola,
Just drive now.
Punchline and the Vaudevillains by Ted Sikora. Now on Kickstarter.
That is insane, man. I love it. I love that dark chorus part. I mean, that is just. Oh,
There was a verse in there specifically about the Vaudevillains, and I was like, yeah, no, it's going on too long. Cut that, kill that, and give it a retry.
It's got a great vibe, man. I really dig it. Thank you so much.
It's real hard to syncopate a line like "in the world of the unseen animal," and then every line that'd be shorter. Like,
Well, when I was trying to find the name of the healer that Fletcher goes to see in Mexico, I'm looking at all these Spanish names, and on one of them I just see Violante, and I just like, oh my God, it looks like violence. And I just like, what a great name.
I ran it through Google Translate, and it means violent.
Yeah. Well, it also is translates into a rose or some sort of a flower, a violet maybe. I've seen a few different things, but like that's a name, and I'm just like, oh God, I just loved it. I knew I could really run with that.
Is she gonna get her own book at any point?
this is what seems to happen with these villains. It's very possible. I've got something in my head that, yeah, I would really love to. I'd like to put her and Regina at odds.
Oh, it would be better than them teaming up.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't team them up.
Do you have any plans for anyone that Apama can work with? Any other heroes?
Yeah, there kind of is. Yeah, and it's because of my daughter. She found one of my high school comic book projects, and it was this superhero thing, and it was ridiculous. But that's kind of how Apama started. It was this ridiculous idea in a movie, and now let's try to do this straight. So, yeah, this could be a friend to Apama.
I will say the Apama origin. I may or may not have actually tried to figure out if I could,
If it would work.
Get the karmic pose.
Yeah.
Because of like, is it just that simple to just be in exactly the right position to tap into the power?
Yeah, it's a calling.
You might need Steve Ditko to draw your hands.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, anyhow, folks in the chat, thank you all for being out here tonight. We don't have a show without you guys being here. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise. So we're glad you're here. And of course, as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night, everybody.